Hey guys, I want to talk about a really important topic today, which is stress and the vital importance of stress in your health and in getting a complete human experience as well. So the first thing I want to say is that stress itself is not a bad thing. Avoiding stress is not the goal of life. So we all think that a stress-free life sounds like a jolly good idea, but it's not actually how we're designed to live. And I'll try and illustrate that. On the other hand, chronic stress, so that's living in a state of stress over an extended period of time, is also unhealthy. It's the combination of acute stress, which can come in many forms, with a period of rebuilding, restoration, repair, growth, healing. That's how you get stronger, and that's how you become, let's say, the best version of you. Okay, so let's take a simple example. Exercise. If you're doing resistance training, you test your muscles to the limit, you're tearing muscle fibers, and then those muscle fibers repair on your rest days. You do not build muscle in the gym, you build muscle on the rest days. So if you're in the gym every day testing your muscles to the limit, you could end up having the opposite effect to what you really want if you're not getting enough repair. That's the point. Same very much applies to cardio. Your cardiovascular system also needs rest. So you put your body under stress if you're jogging, cycling, swimming, whatever. And you need that repair after that as well. Same applies to stretching. What do we do when we stretch? Stretching can feel uncomfortable. It can hurt. But you don't want to be over stretching. You need to do some and then let your body repair itself and fix itself. Staying in the physiological realm, we've got hunger. So acute hunger, not a bad thing, actually very, very good for you. Intermittent fasting, eating in a maybe 4 to 6 hour window or doing one meal a day, very, very good for you. What that does is, because eating puts your body under stress. People don't seem to know this because it can give us dopamine and it feels like comfort, and it is. Like they very often say, the road to heaven feels like hell. Right? The road to hell feels like heaven. So if you're constantly in that dopamine chasing mode, constantly putting food in your mouth, it's just anesthetic. That dopamine stops you really from really feeling who you are. Anyway, so fasting is a good thing. Obviously, long-term starvation, which is chronic hunger, is not a good thing. Right? Cold is another one. You don't want to get hypothermia, but at the same time, being acutely exposed to cold thermogenesis can really fire up your body, very, very healing, stimulates the formation of brown adipose tissue that can burn away your visceral fat, the toxic fat, the most toxic fat. Heat's actually similar. If you go in a sauna, that also puts your body under different types of stress, and the responses that your body can create are good for you. There's also a similar thing applies to actually toxins in general. Yeah, some people, even in the carnivore community, say actually having a non-carnivore meal every now and again and giving your body carbs can work for them, all right? But in terms of toxins, there's this principle of hormesis, which says that exposing your body to a low level of toxin can prompt it to respond and to build its defenses in ways that will make it stronger later on when it's exposed to toxins or other kind of stresses in the future. But the big one for me, and this thing that's really turning around my view of health this year, is to do with the nervous system regulation. And it applies really to all of the things that we've been talking about. So you've got, like I've said in many videos, the autonomic nervous system has two modes. It's binary. You're in one or you're in the other, and you can flip between them. And the sympathetic nervous state is the stress state. So that's when you're hunting, fighting out in a dangerous place where you've got to be alert to risks, right? And this is a catabolic state. This is when your body is only going to break stuff down. It's not busy repairing and healing when you're in the sympathetic state, because it's in action mode and its only concern is the survival of the individual. So when you're in the gym, or when you're on the bike, or when you're in the cold plunge, right, your body is going to be smack in the sympathetic nervous state, and that is not a bad thing. This is what I have to stress. Can't stress it enough. The avoidance of stress is not the point. The point is that you should be in the parasympathetic nervous state for at least, I would say, 80% of your life. And most of us aren't. Most of us are stuck in the sympathetic nervous state, where you are breaking stuff down, but also actually storing visceral fat. That's one thing we don't break down when the sympathetic nervous system is in charge. And you're not healing. This is the point. Now, ancestrally, we would have been in the parasympathetic state, the rest, repair, heal, restorative state, for the majority of our lives, because you'd only hunt when you needed to hunt. You'd only be out in a dangerous situation when you needed to be. Most of your time, you'd be relaxing. Look at what lions do, right? They're not running around, running their asses off, chasing food all day long. They go out, they hunt, mainly the ladies, right? They make a kill, they fill their bellies, and then they roll around and have a good time. So the nervous system regulation is absolutely key, and there's lots of things that you can do to switch yourself into the parasympathetic state. Everything from breath work, meditation, to actually some of the things that we've talked about, some cold exposure, and saunas that can help you to flip your nervous system into the parasympathetic. There is one product that I take that I found about this year that blows my mind. Bitter acid drops from the hops plant that you add to a drink, you drink it down, and it sets your body into parasympathetic, rest, repair, heal, digest, for up to 9.5 hours every time you do it. I do this twice a day, so my body should be in the parasympathetic mode for the majority of the day. Therefore, I am repairing, I'm in deep repair. When you're in the sympathetic state, your body cannot deep heal. So if you are experiencing chronic health issues, sleep issues, also certain mental health issues, right? That could be simply stress, right? And of course, we should also mention that the really acute stress can be very damaging itself as well. So, you want to experience it, but you don't want to, it shouldn't be traumatic, right? Because you could end up with PTSD, permanent damage. You could tear muscles, right? But there's other areas as well, aside from just the nervous system regulation. Things like, what about setting goals? Setting goals in life, saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run that marathon, I'm going to start that business or whatever. That's putting yourself under some stress, right? Not a bad thing. But if you're obsessive about it, and you're in a constant state of stress, and you can't put it down and forget about it and relax, not such a good thing. Taking a risk can be a good thing, right? Taking extreme risks and putting your life in danger, not so much. Even on the emotional, psychological, spiritual side, doing your inner work, right? Facing your demons, owning your weaknesses as well as your strengths, that shadow work, right? Acknowledging the mistakes that you've made can be really good, but obsessing about it, and hello ADHD people, obsessing about things that you've done or said that aren't ideal can be torture. And that's not the point of life. That's not why you've been put on this earth, to indulge in the negative stuff. So self-reflection, very, very healthy. But I've known people who've been in like kind of psychological cults, who are doing nothing but dredging up their shit the whole time. Receiving criticism ain't the nicest thing in the world, but it can be really empowering. Apologizing to somebody when you've screwed up can be really empowering, but don't go through your life as an apology. Yeah? So stress is good. Discipline is good. Discipline can be healthy. But chronic self-denial, chronic discipline, no. You've got to have the self-love as well. You've got to have the time when you build yourself up, restore yourself, because that's why you're here. You weren't put on this earth to have a lousy time and to feel crap about yourself the whole time. And at the same time, this is what I want to say, we should be stretching ourselves. So ask yourself, what can you do today? Pick one thing or a small list of things that you can do today. Ask yourself for a challenge and see what comes up. And it doesn't have to be a bungee jump or a bank raid. It could just be, depending on where you are, right? Just ask your spirit. So what about like just being kind to yourself for 24 hours? How's that for a starter? So hope that's useful. If you want to know more about the product that I'm on, that I absolutely love, that to me I feel has changed my life, then just drop me a comment. Just put more in the comment and I'll tell you everything that you need to know. Have an amazing day.